consuming content is like eating, right? So if you keep on consuming more content, you're gonna have health problems, right? And if you consume more content, you're not gonna have health problems, you're gonna have mental problems. Most people are suffering from mental depression because of the content that they consume, right? So you gotta create. So when you create, you become better. Creativity is good for your health because the more you create, the more smarter you become, the more wiser you become, and the more you can change your life. Hey, how's it, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back to part number 3 of our video where we are looking how to build your business from scratch. From scratch. Some others say how to build your business from a ground up, with zero to little capital. Guys, I want to encourage you, whoever is going through that phase, you are building a business from a ground up, right? It's not easy to do that, but I'm telling you, if others have done it, you can do it too, right? My motive for creating this content is that I went through some hard knocks, right? The stuff that I'm sharing to you guys, it is also a library to me because I tell people that the best way to learn is to teach, right? So I'm not just creating these videos because what I'm sharing to you guys, I've already, mastered everything. No. I'm also creating a content. Somebody once said, you gotta create a content that you would love to watch. So what I'm creating now, I also watch it, in my spare time because I gotta learn too, right? I'm still a student as much as I'm your coach, but I'm also a student, right? I also learn from other people. Somebody once said, a business coach that does not have a business coach cannot be trusted, right? So I also use YouTube to learn, but I use my time most to create, right? If you wanna change your life, you gotta consume less and create more, right? Let me just right, do this. I'm sure you've seen this, right? So you gotta create more, right? But consume less, right? So I'm gonna put this. So this is a warning and this is a tip that I want to give to everybody who's watching this video. Get into a habit where you create more and you consume less, right? Remember, everyone is a creator, right? So now if you spend your time consuming and not creating, you're gonna create a problem to yourself. There are times when I'm watching, content on YouTube where I will feel it in my heart that I must stop, right? Because I must not be consuming. Consuming content is like eating, right? So if you keep on consuming more content, you're gonna have health problems, right? And if you consume more content, you're not gonna have health problems, you're gonna have mental problems. Most people are suffering from mental depression because of the content that they consume, right? So you gotta create. So when you create, you become better. Creativity is good for your health because the more you create, the more smarter you become, the more wiser you become, and the more you can change your life. Why? Because most people are consuming. So you gotta be on the other side. And it is so fascinating that we live in a world where you can just create something that is not even that good, but you'll still live, a blessed life. Why? Because most people are consuming. You see? So today, I want you to make a declaration to yourself that you will stop being a consumer and you will start being a creator. Stop being a consumer and start being a creator. Yes, it is impossible to stop consuming. Why? Because that's how we learn, right? but I want to give you a warning that you gotta reduce your consumption. Consume less. I don't want you to keep on watching my videos and not taking any action, right? And I also have an obligation not to bombard you with videos, right? That's why I always tell people that if you create content, you also have an obligation as a content creator of not releasing too much content, right? Because when you create content, there becomes a connection between you and your subscribers, between you and your followers, right? So if you produce maybe 2 videos per week, that is enough, right? But don't produce a video every day, because what you are going to do, you're gonna create a problem to your followers. I'm telling you guys, we have seen it also in music, right? That if you release a song every day, you will end up overcrowding your crowd, right? Scarcity helps. If you are a hip hop person, I'm sure you've seen the strategy that Kendrick Lamar uses. That guy, he releases a song or an album and then it goes away for like 4 years. You hear nothing of him for like 4 years and 5 years. Why? He understands that scarcity creates demand, right? Scarcity creates demand. So if you are watching this video and you are a content creator, I want to warn you that don't create more content for your followers, right? Because already people are suffering with consumption. So maybe produce 2 videos per week. That will be good enough, right? So I don't know how we got into what I'm saying now, but I think I had to say whatever I just said, right? But guys, the motive of this video was to show you what God did in day 6 and day 7, right? So this what happens when you don't script your videos. Another tip for content creators: don't script your videos, right? Meditate, obviously, prepare on what you're gonna say, but don't script it, because maybe the best part of your video will come, will just come, right? So you gotta be open, to those movements so that you can bring the best content, right? So I wanna show you what God did in day 7, in day 6 and day 7, right? So day 6 and day 7 is the most exciting times in business, right? So remember, we said day 1 up to day 5, right? We said God was working alone, right? He was working alone. And we mentioned in the previous video that the word that is used of God is the word Elohim, right? Elohim. Elohim. Which means 3 person in 1, right? So as much as he was working alone, but it was actually 3 people, right? It was 3 person in 1. How can I put it? Yeah, it was the 3 person in 1. Yeah, 3 person in 1. So that's what we are seeing. So from day 1 to day 5, God had a plan that he wanted to create Earth, right? He had a vision, he had an idea, and that idea was Earth, right? So you might have a different idea that is different from me. Another thing, guys, I wanna tell you is that don't run away chasing ideas, right? It's good to stick to one idea. In fact, all ideas work. I want to repeat, all ideas work. There's no such thing as a foolish idea, right? Remember, what makes your idea to work, it's the creative part that you're going to bring. Remember, you are a creator, right? It's your own identity. And number 2, if that's the case, don't be scared, right? If you have an idea that you feel like it's in the saturated market, creativity is the tool that will make you to pave your own path in a saturated market. So you might have an idea that has been done by most people. It is okay. That's not a problem, right? People scratch their heads thinking that they must get a fascinating idea. No, no, no. An idea, how do you see that this idea, I must pursue it, right? So when you sit down, it's always pressed in your heart. You see, intuition is a guiding factor, right? You don't have to do many things to validate your idea, right? What is your heart saying about your idea? Intuition is the tool that is used by most people. Many ideas that became successful were actually validated by intuition, right? So stop looking for many ideas and start focusing on that idea, right? That you know that you've been avoiding, right? Or stick to your idea. Don't be intimidated by other people's ideas. Let me tell you something, there's no such thing as a foolish idea, and all ideas work, right? So I want us in this video to look at what God did in day 6 and day 7, right? So we already discussed that from day 1 to day 5 he was working alone, and then in day 6 day 6 and day 7, right? So day 6 he delegated, he hired, right? He hired people. Right? Now I want to show you something, a very interesting thing that you gotta do when you hire people, right? The Bible doesn't tell us that God trained Adam and Eve, right? The problem that most people do when they hire people that needs training. If you're gonna hire people that you still need to develop, then you are bringing problem to your business. You must not hire people. You must actually hire experts. You must hire experts. Right? You must hire experts. Right? Let me just remove this so that we'll speak more about day 6. When you hire, don't hire people that will need training. Right? So day 6, okay, let me just use this one. So day 6, God hired people, right? So in this case, it was Adam and Eve, right? But the Bible doesn't tell us that he trained them. So you don't hire people, you actually hire experts. Let me tell you something. If you wanna live a peaceful life as an entrepreneur, you gotta hire experts, right? Don't hire people that you will need to train. Now, what is nice with experts is that they already know how to do the job. The only thing that you need to do, you gotta be clear in what you want them to do, right? So you gotta be clear. Number one, you gotta be clear, right? Be clear in terms of what you want them to do. And then number two, the only thing that you're gonna do is to manage or monitor, right? But what is nicer with an expert, if you hire an expert, you're not gonna crack your head when it comes to managing them, right? And then last, number three, when you are working with experts, you gotta appreciate them. Or you gotta honor them. Right? So when you hire experts, you gotta do these three things. First, you gotta be clear in what you want. You gotta manage them well, but they won't need too much management because they're already experts. And then number 3, you gotta appreciate them, right? You gotta honor them, right? I'm telling you, if you can do these 3 things, then you're gonna have a successful business. The reason why I want you to hire experts have this trait, right? This is the traits of experts. I'm gonna write it down. Experts, they have this mentality. This is their mentality. We will figure it out. This is the trait of expert, right? So when you are running a business, you're gonna face problems, right? Now, when you hire experts, you are hiring a person who has the mentality, right? The mentality that they're gonna figure things out. So if there's a problem, they're gonna go and learn fast and then come back and do it. Because an expert, the difference between an amateur and an amateur is somebody, when they face a problem, they are doomed. But an expert, it is somebody, when they face a problem, they go and get the knowledge. They go and get the tools. They don't mind going through the learning curve to come back and solve the problem. Experts don't mind working overnight to make sure that they solve the problem. It's who they are. That's why you gotta honor them. Because they are experts, right? I'm telling you, these guys will work long hours. It's who they are, right? So if they work long hours, you gotta make sure that you honor them. So that's what God did on day 6. He hired Adam and Eve, right? He hired Adam and Eve. I'm gonna show you something, and I'm gonna prove it to you that Adam was an expert. He was not an amateur, right? So God tested him. When you read Genesis chapter number 2, I'm showing you that Adam is an expert, right? Because maybe some of you will think I'm making this stuff up. I'm gonna show you. It's there in Genesis chapter number 2, right? Don't hire people that you will need to train. No, hire experts, right? So when you read chapter number 2, right? I'm gonna read verse let me see, it's verse 18, I think, right? Verse 19, right? So Genesis chapter 2 verse 19, it reads like this: So the Lord God formed from the ground all the wild animals and all the birds of the sky. He brought them to the man to see what he would call them, and the man chose a name for each one. He gave names to all the livestock, all the birds of the sky, all the wild animals, but still there was no helper just right for him. All right. So what we are seeing here, we are seeing that Adam was given a task by God, right, to name the animals. And his selective ability, right, the words that he selected were exactly what God, who was his manager, desired. That's what the experts will do, right? The experts will make decisions that will be in line with your decisions as a manager. In fact, the best way to bounce back some ideas is that you gotta make sure that you develop a relationship with experts that are working for you. I'm telling you, these guys are the ones who will carry the future of your business, right? So Adam was an expert. This guy was an expert, right? He was an expert. God never trained him. The Bible doesn't tell us that he trained him on how to name the animals. No. He brought the animals to him. He brought a task, and Adam did exactly what God desired, right? And you can only find that when you're dealing with experts. So guys, that's what you gotta do on day number 6. After you pass day number 1 to 5, you gotta hire experts, man. You see, you cannot work alone in business. You gotta hire people, but not just people. You gotta hire experts, people who have the mentality of we can figure things out. That's why you gotta appreciate these people, because these people actually will make your life to be easier as an entrepreneur or as a business owner. So guys, please hit the comments. Let me know what the challenges that you have been facing when you have been hiring people. Maybe the most challenges that you had was because you were hiring amateurs, you were not hiring experts, right? You cannot see an expert or an amateur until the problem comes. You see, a problem will tell what kind of people you have, right? So when you're interviewing people, make sure that you get experts, right? Get experts. Don't hire people, and make sure that you pay them well. You gotta honor them, right? Don't be a boss that James talks about when you read the book of James. He says these people, these rich people, they cheat. You see, they withhold. What I love about the Hebrew principles is that there was a time where God told the Israelites in the book of Leviticus that make sure that you give your employees a good wage. There was a verse that says that. So you gotta make sure that you pay these people well. I'm telling you, if you honor them, these guys will sleep, will spend 3 days fixing your problem because you take good care of them. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sure you have been inspired. Please hit the comments. Let me know your story. What has been your journey in terms of hiring the people who are working in your business? So guys, there are coaching programs that I've designed. Go check the website, click the links below, and everything is on my website. So thank you so much guys, and I will see you in the next video.